Welcome back, and let's bring you some of our stories in brief. A little over 40 political parties have thrown their weight behind the re-election bid of the Cross River State Governor, Professor Ben Ayade, led by the state's chairman of the Conference of Nigeria Political Parties, Mr. Michael Sunday. The parties promised to deplore their political structures for the governor's re-election bid, as adopting Ayade meant adopting all his achievements in office so far. Elsewhere, the River State Governor, Nyesom Wike, thinks the campaigns ahead of the election should be driven by work done and promises kept. Well, the governor made this point during the statewide PDP campaign in Ayade East local government area of the state, while calling on the crowd to ensure they get hold of their PVCs to give substance to their support by voting for the People's Democratic Party. The governorship candidate of ABGA in Abia State, Dr. Alex Oti, says he has signed a contract to serve the people of the state faithfully when he becomes governor. Dr. Oti was speaking to party supporters at his campaign rally in Umuahia South local government area of the state. He vows to serve the state in honesty. The U.S. ambassador to Nigeria, Stuart Symington, believes the general elections in River State should not be a matter of life and death. The U.S. envoy said this after a closed-door meeting with the River State governor at his official residence in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. According to him, Nigerians should see the elections as important and one that would bear on the continent and the world. He also called on young people to refuse to allow politicians use them to perpetrate violence during the polls.
All the elections that are coming up in Nigeria are fundamentally important for the people of Nigeria, but they're also fundamentally important for the whole world. And I'll tell you why. Because Nigerians believe in freedom. Nigerians believe in citizens. Nigerians believe in themselves, and Nigerians believe in each other. Every Nigerian who is a citizen, who's old enough to vote and has a card, every one of those people believes that their vote ought to be counted and believes that they ought to be able to go to the poll peacefully, and they ought to be able to take their PVC card with them, and they ought to be able to vote for the person that they choose, and their vote ought to be counted. I've talked to the candidates for president, and they tell me the same thing. President Buhari, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar Atiku, several other candidates. Every single one of these candidates tells me the same thing.
So while there have been anxieties over the preparedness of the Electoral Commission, that is INEc, on the task of conducting a credible poll next month and March the 2nd, some persons in the opposition are also accusing INEc of plans to rig the 2019 elections. Just yesterday, an elder statesman, General T.Y. Danjuma, also pledges plans to rig the polls with the help of security agencies. Well, Mohammed Haruna, a national commissioner, INEc, and the chairman, INEc Board of Survey and Technical Acquisition Committee, joins us from our Abuja studios. We'd like to thank you for joining us on Lunchtime Politics and ask first, what is your take on the allegations of planned rigging in the forthcoming general elections?
Good afternoon. This is nothing new. There has always been accusations of rigging, counter-rigging and all that. But I think the public should judge us by the records. We've had 195 elections since the last general election in 2015. And the observers, both local and international, they've praised, generally speaking, the elections, all of them, as fair, free, and credible. So people will make allegations. Of course, it should be a matter for concern. But we are more concerned by the arrangements we are making. Because everywhere, politicians themselves, will try by means fair and foul to win. So it's our responsibility as INEc is to make sure that those who try to do that do not succeed. And we've put in place quite a number of things that will ensure that this kind of thing doesn't happen.
How much confidence do you have in security agencies as well?
Agencies, you mean...
security.
Of course, the securing the polling units is not the polling environment is not our responsibility. Our primary responsibility is to manage all the processes for an election. The responsibility for securing the environment lies principally with the police. As I'm talking to you right now, I had to leave a meeting of ICSES, that is the Interagency Consultative Committee for Electoral Security, which is co-chaired by our chairman and the National Security Advisor. And we've been discussing all the things that, should be put in place, all the things. In fact, when I left that meeting, the new Inspector General of Police was about to tell the meeting all the arrangements it's been making that it has already made so far to make sure that the environment for elections are secure and they are safe.
INEc also mentioned the new vote buying technique, food vendors and what have you. And a recent report talked about how they also witnessed many people selling their PVCs or people being asked to sell their PVCs. What is INEc doing? Is INEc really prepared?
Yes, we are. Actually, we are more concerned about people selling their PVCs than, the other one, that people buying VIN. That is the voter identification number. I don't even know why politicians would even do that. Every one of the 91 political parties we have now has been given a complete voters register. On that voters register, the VINs are there. So why they want to buy what is already in their hands, I don't understand. But in terms of voters buying PVCs, our worry is that it will disfranchise the voter. If you don't have your PVC, you cannot vote. So we are worried about that. But we are not worried that people will try to use it to do the so-called front loading, because it cannot be done. Right. So our only worry is that people will be disenfranchised.
We'd like to thank you, Mr. Mohammed Aruna, INEc National Commissioner, INEc, Chairman also, INEc Board of Survey and Technical Acquisition Committee, for joining us on the program. Well, 29 now, not 2019. 29 gubernatorial aspirants in Kano State, northwest Nigeria, have signed a peace accord document to formally agree with electoral guidelines, free from violence and other electoral malpractices. The National Commission chairman of the Peace Accord Committee, former military head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, reminds the candidates on the consequences of ignoring the provisions of the documents that they have signed. Correspondent Jibrin Idris reports that the representative of the United Nations, Mohammed bin Chambers, also informed politicians that the United Nations General Assembly is particularly interested in peaceful elections across the country. Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed says the People's Democratic Party has achieved much in the delivery of dividends of democracy in the state and will find it easy to coast to victory in the next election. Governor Ahmed stated this at Okero local government area when he led the Kwara PDP campaign train. The campaign team at each community was received by a large crowd who came out to express their support for the emergence of the gubernatorial candidate of the party, Rasak Atunwa. He assured the people of the state that the PDP would ensure progress, economic growth and even development if elected at all levels. The governorship candidate of the PDP, Rasak Atunwa, who spoke in Yoruba, promised to invest more in infrastructural development, more in women and youth empowerment and upgrading of the stool of traditional rulers in the area. Well, that's the much you can bring on lunchtime at this time. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a lovely day.